friends, I think that I'm live, but I'm just waiting for YouTube to catch up with me. While I wait, I'm going to also pull it up on my phone. I'll make sure my phone's turned down. And I'm just waiting to make sure we are actually live. There we are. And let's also mute this. All right. Hello, friends. Welcome to our Tuesday YouTube Live. I am Leah, and you're going to be creating a card with me today. Once again, let me just pull this up on my phone. There we go. So I can see your lovely comments when I get going on creating. Yes, you guys heard my Cocker Spaniel in the background. I think she loves that my door is closed. So, but hopefully she'll settle in with my husband. All right, friends. So welcome to YouTube Live. All right. Before I get the cameras all flipped around, I'm going to give us just a few more minutes to let people find us here. But while we do that, I'm going to go over a couple of things. First off, if you're new to our YouTube Lives, welcome. We're so happy that you found us. And we hope that you will join us in the future for future lives. Now, once I get the camera flipped around, I don't see as many comments, so I'm giving you kind of a blanket welcome right now. Heather Hoffman, who is my partner in crime, she is typing behind the name Pinkfresh Studio, and she's really good about welcoming people as she sees them as well. So welcome if you're new, and of course, welcome if you've been with us on our live journeys for some time now. We give away a $15 gift card code at the end of every live. So there are a couple of different ways to enter. One is just do what you're doing now. Chat with us in the live chat. And as you chat, those just are entries into the giveaway. Now, underneath the video, there's an arrow button with the word share next to it. You click on that and share that. So you could share it if you have like an email chain with crafty friends, you could share it there. You could share it to your Facebook page. You could share it in like a crafting Facebook group. Just make sure that that aligns with their rules. There are some that would prefer you didn't do that. So just make sure that that's okay. Come back here in the live chat, let us know you shared, and that's just an extra entry into our giveaway. Now, finally, we would love for you to give the video a thumbs up. What this does is it just helps the reach of the video, both right now when it's live and also for the replay afterwards. So we just can get it out there to as many crafters as possible. So we appreciate your help in that. So we definitely would love for you to give that a thumbs up. All right, I think we have quite a few people here. I see Heather is here with us. I'm just actually kind of waiting for my hot foil machine to heat up. So I'll just give you a little overview of what I'm going to use today. So I am going to be playing with our Butterflies product suite. I think I'm going to mostly hot foil today, but I think I'll pull a sentiment from the stamp set. This was a huge seller last year, and I don't know, I know that I never was able to demo it because it sold out, but I noticed the other day it was in stock, so I thought it would be fun to use it. We haven't demoed it in a while because it has been out of stock, so I'm excited to use it today. I'm also going to be using our July challenge prompt as my inspiration. If you haven't checked that out, I do have it linked in the video description along with all of the products that I'm using today. So the video description is pretty handy. It has all of the links that you need. But our July challenge is all about shimmer and shine. So foiling, heat embossing, bling, pretty much anything that shimmers or shines is fair game. Die cutting from glitter paper or foil paper, lots of things. So then there's also this really lovely neutral color palette that we came up with for this month's challenge. And so I'm going to use that as well. So I'm going to actually do both sides of the challenge and for my card inspiration today. So my hot foil machine has officially heated up. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera around and we will get going. So just bear with me during this transition. Okay. Oh, that might be a little dark. So we will leave that on. Okay. So like I mentioned, you'll see my hot foil machine, I turned it on. If you're new to hot foiling and you're wanting to know what the first step is there's just a power button back here and you just flip that on. And then what you'll only have is just the red button at first. The way that you know that your hot foil machine is fully heated up is that this green light will pop on. So then you know that it is time to put your hot foil plate. So today we're going to use the Butterflies hot foil plate. So you can go ahead and put your hot foil plate onto your hot foil system, and then go ahead and hit the timer button. And this basically is heating up your hot foil plate to the correct temperature. So today I am actually using a hot foil that I actually don't use often at all. This is copper colored hot foil, and I actually think that it goes really beautifully with the color palette that I wanted to use. I have already gone ahead and trimmed down a piece of hot foil, although I should make sure that it fits the butterflies, and I think it does, so I think we're good. But I really thought that this copper color would look really lovely with the color palette that I have for you today. So we will definitely see. And I'm so happy that you guys are excited about getting to see the Butterflies product suite in use, because like I mentioned, it was definitely a bestseller when it came out last year. And it's a good one. It's a favorite, and it's one of my favorites. And I think I've kind of been sad that I've never been able to demo it before. So I am happy that I get to share it with you. Okay, so you'll see that the timer button, where the blinking has stopped, it's now solid. So what that's signifying to me is that my hot foil machine is plenty warm to foil the butterflies. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my desk ready first. So I'm gonna grab my Platinum 6 and we're gonna get that ready to foil. So let's go ahead and grab that. You're not gonna be able to see the whole thing just due to the fact that my desk space is limited. I will showcase as much of this as I possibly can for you. So then a couple of tips. This is just the way that I prefer to do my sandwiches, which I should probably grab my plates here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I prefer to remove the platform first from the base so that I don't run the risk of my foiled image haloing. So then you go ahead and you take your foil and you put your foil pretty side down on top of the hot foil plate. Then you'll want to go ahead and add your cardstock. I always do a piece of cardstock that's a little bit bigger so I don't run the risk of any edges accidentally not getting foiled. And then we're going to go ahead and place the 2 shims or plastic shims that come with the Glimmer system. And then I'm just going to slowly and gently run this through my Spellbinder's Platinum 6 machine. Now, I don't feel the need to run it back and forth. I feel like that just ups your chance of getting haloing. So I only run it through the one time, and then we're going to check and see how the foiling went. Now, if I didn't get a good foiling result, no worries, we'll go ahead and just do it over again. But I have a feeling we got perfect results. We sure did. And look at how warm, toned, and just beautiful that copper is. I'm trying to get it in the reflection of my light so you can see just how lovely it is. It looks dark from some angles, but it's actually really not super dark at all. So that is foiling. Now I will save this leftover piece. I don't know that I have time to do it today in the live. So I am just going to keep this aside. And after the live is over, I will grab my solid hot foil plate and I will do the reverse foiling. And then I'll have these beautiful solid copper butterflies to use at a later date. Just for reference, I have used the 100-pound Hammermill smooth white cardstock. I know it's hard to come by right now. If you, excuse me, that's loud, I know. If you check out our Hot Foiling 101 video, you will know that you can foil on lots of white cardstock. We just really do like the Hammermill because it gives such great results. But you can foil on plenty of white cardstock. All right, I'm just using my Misty magnet, and I am going to put the hot foil plate, down on my glass mat. I feel like that disperses the heat super quickly. And then I'm going to go ahead and actually remove my hot foil machine. You'll notice I turned it off. I'm going to remove my hot foil machine from the picture because I don't need it anymore. I think I just saw the comment fly by asking me to do it on black, and unfortunately I don't have any black cardstock near me. So we'll have to show that at a later date. I'm going to just stick with what I currently foiled. All right. So we have our lovely copper foiled butterflies. Now we are going to ink blend them with the coordinating stencils. So we all do this a little bit differently. I like to tape my stamped or my foiled panel or just my cardstock panel down to my glass mat. And then I like to tape them off with, okay, here we go. And I think I'm doing this the right way. Yes, I am. And then I like to tape them, the stencils down directly to them. All right, let's see here. Kathy, I actually do the same thing. So because I kit and I teach classes and such with the Hammermill cardstock, I actually buy it in boxes. So I get like 12 reams in one box, and I ordered one of those every 6 months, although I did skip the last one because it wasn't available. But I do the same thing with Hammermill cardstock. All right, I think I'm just going to start with one of these right now because I think at first I only use one color at a time. So we are going to start with stencil number 1, and in true Leah fashion, I am pretty sure I ink blend this set in different order, but we are officially starting with stencil number 1. And so I think you can see that there in the glare. Stencil 1, you'll notice there's tick marks in each corner. Now that's when you're using the stencils by themselves. When you are using them with a stamped or a foiled image, you will just align the stencil up to the image. So you won't use those tick marks. There wouldn't be any way to really coordinate that. So that is just a little tip when it comes to using our layering stencils if you're new to them. So I am just getting this lined up with the first set of butterfly wings here. And I'm just going to go ahead and tape them down. All right. So for the first set of wings, we're going to use Ballet Slipper, which is a very, very light pink. I always think it doesn't show up super well when you're stenciling until you actually have removed the stencil. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited about this neutral color palette, so I think it's going to turn out really, really fun. So we're starting with Ballet Slipper. And I tend to blend a little heavier at the base of the butterfly and then fade it out to the wings so that it's a little bit softer. Ballet Slipper is such a light tone of ink that it's not, that's not like a huge deal, but still just the way that I prefer to ink blend. Now, if you're new to ink blending over foiling, we're happy to say that it does not affect the foiling in any way, shape, or form. So you are absolutely perfectly okay to ink blend over foil, and it turns out beautifully. Oh, hello from Scotland. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here with us today. All right. So I think I am good with stencil number 1. So I'm just going to wipe it down. This is just a dry lint-free cloth that I am using it to just wipe ink off so I don't get ink on my fingers. When all is said and done, I do keep a bottle of isopropyl alcohol on my desk, just in a little jar or a spray bottle. And when I end the live stream, I'll clean my stencils with just a couple spritzes each and really get any excess ink off of them. So let's go ahead and remove our first stencil. So you can see we've got that nice light pink starting for stencil number 1. So I think next we are moving on to stencil number 4. If you frequent my lives at all, I tend to put the stencils in the order that makes sense to my brain. So this may not be the way that you want to do the order of stencils, and that is perfectly fine. It just happens to be what works best for my brain. So you can keep them in the order we have created them, or you can move them. Totally, absolutely, all is perfectly fine. And Janet, no, the foiling does not rub off at all, even when you rub over it with a cloth. So it doesn't rub away. It is there to stay. All right. So for the middle wings, we're actually going to do green. So the way that my butterfly is going to be colored is the 2 very light shades that are in our challenge color inspiration are going to be flanking the deeper shade, which is the green. And I'm actually really excited about how this might turn out. I think it's going to be a really, really lovely butterfly. Now I know I've used evergreen recently, so I'm going to go ahead and really get my green brush cleaned off here just to make sure that not too much evergreen is getting mixed into the olive. And just for reference, friends, if you've never participated in our monthly challenge, one, it's really easy to find on our homepage of our website. There's a tab at the top that says monthly challenge, and then you'll also, if you scroll on the homepage, there's also a place for it. Now we give away two $50 gift card codes every single month. So it's a great way, a shopping spree, basically. And all you have to do is create. The only thing that we ask is that you pick at least part of the challenge. You don't have to use both. You can pick just the theme or just the colors. We're fine with that, but you can mix them together as well, like I'm doing today. So we ask that you use the theme, and then of course we ask that your project predominantly features Pinkfresh Studio product. And now we pick one card making product, or excuse me, one card making project to win and one memory keeping. So if you happen to scrapbook, if you do both, you can create multiple entries, up to 5 each month. So it's a great way to use your Pinkfresh Studio products. It's a great way to be inspired. And it is also, each entry gives you a chance to win a $50 gift card code. So just wanted to share that with you. All right, so we think we've got the olive layer nice and ink blended in there. Once again, that was stencil number 4, because I am doing the stencils out of order. Hello, Mary, I'm glad you were able to jump on. And look at how fun that is. I just am loving these colors together so much. Okay. So now we are going back to stencil number 2, which is the bottom halves of the butterflies. Okay. They are very big butterflies, Mary. They're very nice size. They definitely fill up a card base as well. And they actually look really, really beautiful on memory keeping projects as well. So we have all paper crafters in mind when we are coming up with products. And we think that, you know, the majority of our stuff can be used for all types of paper crafting. So, all right. So stencil number 2, the bottoms of the butterflies, we are going to ink blend in Peach Fuzz. All right. Now, you're probably not going to notice Peach Fuzz too much over the green. It might change the green and make it a little muddy, but I'm not super worried about that because with the fact that I chose copper, it's okay if there's a little bit of brown tone that happens in some of the areas. So that's why kind of one of the reasons why I chose the copper foiling, just in case I got a little brown here and there, but I'm noticing it's not even making any difference putting the Peach Fuzz over top of the green. So I didn't need to worry about it anyway. And then don't forget, we also have the small butterflies set that is the same type of product suite. It's a stamped stencil die hot foil plate. And they're just little tiny butterflies, so they complement really well. Today, I'm just going to be using the bigger butterflies, but we do have that smaller set as well. Oh, thanks, friends. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Okay, so there is stencil number 2 that we went back to. So let's take a look. So technically, all of our butterflies are colored in, but we've got some details to take care of. So we are moving on to stencil number 3, which is some of these fun detail pieces here. So this is where I might do just a tiny bit of masking, nothing too much. I just want to make sure that I don't get certain colors in areas where I don't want them to be. So for now, I'm going to mask off just the butterfly center pieces. And I am actually not going to change the colors at all. I'm just going to blend another section of the same color. So it'll be a subtle change over top of that initial piece, the initial ink blending, pardon me. It'll be a real subtle change, but it will be enough of a change that I think you will be able to notice it. And I think that these are far enough away from each other that I don't need to worry about doing any masking. You could also use smaller brushes to help with that. I also think the colors are light enough that I'm just not super worried about it. And I'm being pretty generous with the ballet slipper since it is such a light pink. I'm really getting in there in hopes of getting some good differentiation. Okay, now we're going to grab the Peach Fuzz again. And we are going to get the Peach Fuzz details blended in. A little bit more ginger with this one since it's right next to that ballet slipper right there. Okay. And this one, I'm not really worried about shading. I'm really, truly just trying to get color into those areas. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to pull off these middles here. And this is where warm buff is going to come into place. Now, in the end, I think I am probably going to cover these with jewels. And I may actually end up only using one butterfly today anyway, but just in case I don't cover up the middle with a jewel, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink blend the middle in some warm buff. It felt like a good match for the copper without being too dark. And I didn't really want it to be black either. So it felt like a nice good match for the copper foiling that I chose. Hi friends, no worries if you're joining in a little late. Of course, we'll be available for replay, not too long or almost immediately after I hit end on the live stream. Okay, so that is stencil 3. And look at how fun these butterflies are coming together. Finally, we have just one stencil left. That is stencil number 5, I believe. Yep, there we go. And this is just the green details. Now this one, I am going to move a shade, go to a different shade of green. I am keeping in line with the color palette inspiration that we gave on the challenge graphic. So I'm going to move up to evergreen for just these little detail pieces. And I think that that will just be a really nice bold touch because it's just a small amount of detail here. And I think it will be just a really lovely, bold finish to these butterflies. I'm glad you guys are excited about seeing this set in use. I am super excited to be using it. It's one of my faves. So I'm super happy to be using it today. All right, that is the final stencil. So before we do the big reveal, I'm just gonna clean my space up real quick. If you frequent our lives at all, sorry, you'll know that Heather and I kind of clean as we go. So, but there is the big reveal of our butterflies, and just look at how lovely they turned out. Super excited with this set, and I really love it with the copper foiling. Oh, I just think that's so pretty. Okay. There we are. Let's get the stencils put away. As I mentioned, I'm going to just set the stencils to the side for now. I will clean them when I end this live stream. I'll clean them more extensively. So now let's go ahead and we're going to cut our butterflies out. And Heather just mentioned this, but if you are wondering what colors I used or what products I used, everything is listed in the video description. So super easy to find there, and then you'll have it. You'll have everything you need whenever, if you want to take a peek at all of the different things being used today. So one piece die, of course, we love to do that when it makes sense. So I only have to tape down the one die to cut out both butterflies. I do like to take some time to get it lined up nice and centered. These are larger dies, so they can take a little bit more time to line up. I try not to get any tape overlapping because tape can pull out foiling a little bit. Probably won't be too bad if it overlaps a little bit. I just do my best to avoid as much as possible. Other tip about larger dies like this, you do want to make sure that you tape them down nice and well as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and run this through my machine, which is just a little bit off camera. So I'll be right back. All right. These popped out here. And there we have our big, beautiful butterflies. Now I'm just going to maybe get the die. I don't really care if it tears the paper. I've already used this tape for holding down stencils, so okay. So let me clear these out of the way, and then let's just take a closer look at how beautiful these butterflies are now that they're cut out. They've got that nice thin edge around them, and they just look stunning. Now, I did want to mention that we carry the Glamour system, and we are working on our lineup of foils. And we do currently carry the copper foil in our shop, so kind of one-stop shopping. If you're wanting to grab any of the products I'm using today, you can also grab the copper foil as well. And like I mentioned, that is all linked in the video description. Oh, hi, Marisol. Welcome. I happened to look at the comments and I saw that you're here for your first time. So welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. Oh, Karen, I totally get that. This is now completely cool, so I'm going to go ahead and put it away as well. So finally, we need to actually do a sentiment, but I actually may do that in just a minute. I think I'm going to work a little bit on my card design first. So I'm going to share a couple of things that I pre-cut with you in order to just save a little bit of time. So I thought that our new floral backdrop cover plate die would look really lovely in the background of our card. And then I also am using our Essentials Ornate banner die. I created a frame out of it. So what you'll see is that I created the frame. This is just some ivory colored glitter paper. And then I used the inner die to cut out the floral backdrop. So everything fits together in there. And that's like one of the funnest things about the Ornate banner die set is they come in separate pieces. So you could use this banner alone and just cut a full banner front. You can use it with the inner die to create a frame. You can use just the inner die to create the inside of your frame. And then of course there's a smaller little banner die and a couple of little details. I'm not using the details or the smaller banner, but it is a fun set. It's one of my favorites. We've had it for a while. It's one of our best sellers. So these are the two pieces that I'm using to help build my card together, basically. Now, I know that I'm going to probably end up stamping or heat embossing my sentiment, but I am going to work on a card design first before I get to the sentiment. So I'm going to do the sentiment at the end because I'm not completely sure where I want it to go yet. So I'm going to go ahead and build my card up. Now, I created two card bases. I created a card base that matched a warm buff, and I created a card base that matched the olive green. I wasn't completely sure which one I think would look the best. So we are going to try this out on both and just see what I think here. So let's start out with the green, just getting an idea of what that looks like. And that is really very lovely. I do like the added color there. And then let's take a look at it. This just might be too neutral for me. I think that that's just far too muted and neutral. So it's a lovely colored card base, but I think I'm going to stick with the olive green. And I think I'm seeing quite a few olive votes as well. So I think that that just really helps the butterfly pop. All right. Well, first things first, we're going to go ahead and we are going to get the frame. Oh, actually, I remembered I have to do this part still. I did not put any foam tape in this section yet because I like to do that by pulling the release paper off of the back of it, because then you can bend the foil or the foam, kind of bend it to your will. You can put it however you want it to. You can kind of bend it, I guess, bend it and curve it. So I like to do that. So I couldn't add it prior or it would have stuck to, kind of was stuck to the, wherever I had left it. Someone's asking about foiling on vellum. I just bought a bunch of vellum, but I haven't had a minute to try it out and see. I know Heather recently said she had success on the Spellbinders vellum, and I feel we have a video coming up very soon from Carissa about foiling on vellum. I feel like that's coming up very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that here on our YouTube channel. All right, so let's get our ornate banner frame in place, first things first. And then I am going to glue the floral background on. I apologize, guys. I'm the worst person to ask about cardstock brands. I've been creating for many, many years, and I just organize them by color. So I have no idea what brand it is. So I'm very sorry about that, but I just can't tell you those details because I don't know. I'm just using some liquid glue. I like using liquid glue for stuff like this because it gives me a chance to move it around and really get it in place so that it's not crooked and the liquid glue really gives you the chance to do that. All right. So give that a minute. Nope, I don't use any shims when I'm foiling. I used to have to, with my old die cut machine, I did used to have to use a paper shim with my solid hot foil plate, but I did replace my die cut machine with a newer one. And since having replaced that, I haven't needed to use any type of shim, even with my solid plate. So I just use the two plates that come with the foil machine. Okay. Now, Lisa, when you die cut acetate, because I have had pretty good results die cutting, or excuse me, foiling on acetate, but acetate for some reason is harder to die cut. So I do typically use a metal shim when I am cutting anything from acetate. You do want to make sure that you use a heat resistant acetate if you're going to foil. All right, friends, I am going to, you can see my stamp set's well used. I'm going to use one of the sentiments from it. I'm just not completely sure which one yet. Lucette, it does look like it has layers because I did pop the top frame up with foam, so it gives it some added dimension. And then of course, the die set is meant to do that. So it's got the separate dies within it, which allows you to create the layers from different options. So, okay, so what sentiment do I want to use here? I love the one that says, without change, there would be no butterflies. And I think in the end, I'm probably just going to heat emboss this onto maybe colored cardstock down in this little corner here. But first things first, you all know that I like to do things off the edge, but I do not want to, I don't want this to be that much off of the edge. So I'm going to cut my butterfly a little bit. So I'm just going to mark where I need to cut little notches for where I need to cut to. And it is not perfect, if that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to trim that off, and then this will just fit right in here, and I'll have this gorgeous butterfly hanging on the side. And then I kind of wonder if it might work. No, it really doesn't. I was going to see if the other flutter piece of it would work on this side, but it sure doesn't. So we're going to just leave that guy off. Okay, so then I'm going to add, throwing my liquid glue around. I am just going to add liquid glue over here on the side. And then I'm going to grab a couple pieces of foam tape. Actually, I might adhere this down first. Go. And then I think I might add just a couple pieces of foam underneath the wing so that it doesn't flatten on me. I probably can just do one nice piece like that. Perfect. And then the butterfly is kind of peeking from the side here. Okay. Yep, I did a little butterfly surgery. And in the end, this little piece just doesn't quite work to use. So maybe I can use it on the envelope, or I can just use it for a different card. Or in the end, if I never use it on anything, that's okay. I'm not going to use this butterfly, so I can use it on a different card at a later date. But I just really love how that looks with the butterfly kind of peeking in, and just look at that beautiful foiling. Oh, love it. Oh yeah, April, that's one of my favorite tips when you kind of do, floral or butterfly or whatever surgery, and then you tuck it into a frame. That's one of my favorite things. Okay, without change, there would be no butterflies. I am actually going to grab my, I'm going to grab my thing of cardstock scraps. So give me just a second, because I'm going to be a little out of range of my microphone, I believe. And I need to go through this. It's a hot mess, but I'm going to see if I can find a color cardstock that I like for adding my sentiment to, because I think I am going to heat emboss it in white. So I might actually be looking for a deep shade of green again. So I'm going to look and see if I have one. First things first. That will be the deciding factor here, I guess. And this is the part I didn't prep very well. I've prepped a lot, but I was like, oh, I'll just kind of wing the sentiment, because I wasn't really sure what I wanted it to look like. Oh, there we go. That kind of matches the detail. And I think I kind of love that. Perfect. Hey, that didn't take too long, did it? So I'm going to go ahead and grab my mini Misty, and we are going to put this in here. And I really love the without change, there would be no butterflies sentiment. Oh, I think that's upside down. Okay. So I am just going to get that in here. Okay. Not a huge deal if it's not perfectly straight, because I am going to trim it down. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to prep this with a powder tool. Everything else you need. And then we're going to stamp the sentiment a few times, making sure that my cardstock is nice in the corner of my Misty so I can stamp the sentiment a few times. It's a pretty dainty sentiment. So one, I don't want to press real hard. Two, I always feel like embossing ink needs a couple of impressions, especially after you prep that cardstock with the powder tool, because I feel like it really dries it out and makes it kind of sink into the cardstock on that initial stamp. But I think we're good to go. We'll look and see how the embossing powder sticks here. That's really full. Okay. All right, and I think it did pretty good. Just gonna wipe away some of it never fails, even though I prep with powder tool, I always get some stray pieces of powder that I need to brush away. But now I think we'll be good. So these are just sandwich bins that I put the embossing powders in, and then I just peeled the label off of the canister so that I would know what type is in each of my little bin thingies. All right, so I'm going to heat set here in just a moment. I am not going to talk once I turn my gun on, my heat gun on, because it makes the audio all funny. So it might get a little quiet or silent here for a minute, and that's why. All right, so that worked out real well. I did not get a damp cloth, so I'm just going to use a little stamp cleaner to wipe down my sentiment. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it away. And yes, I've had this mini Misty forever, and the hinge is pretty squeaky at this point. So definitely one of those sounds you always know what it is, as a squeaky Misty. Okay, so there is our sentiment. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim it down into a strip. Let's see here. Get nice straight here. Right. I do like how bold the white sentiment is, especially on this deep green color of cardstock. So now we have a nice thin strip. I can put this back and use it at a later time for something else. So then I'm going to put little banner edges on this, I think. So I kind of like to mark in place where I want to cut when I do this. So you could always do this if you have a little banner die or something, but I find it's pretty easy. So I'm just going to trim it down a little. First things first, I'm just going to trim it to where I think the banners should start. Like that. Okay. So then I like to just grab a ruler and add a little tick mark right in the center. Do that on both sides. Might have cut this side a little short. Hopefully it works out. Okay. So then I'm actually going to grab my more precise scissors here, and I'm just going to cut each edge over to the tick mark. Oops. And then cut it back out, and then do that on each side. And then you have an easy enough banner. Is it perfect? Way it like a die would be? No, but I think it works just fine when all said and done. And you've got this great little banner that you didn't have to have a die for, and it's nice and finished. So I have this piece of foam tape that I think is like the perfect size. Sure is. All right. So there's that. And then I'm just going to put it in between two of the floral designs in the background so that I'm not completely covering them up. And I'm just going to make sure that's, fairly straight anyway. All right. So now we're going to add some jewels. And a little cleanup real quick. Yeah, super fine white embossing powder I think always works the best when it comes to getting good results, nice, sharp results. So definitely keep that in mind. Now, I really want to use our espresso colored jewels on this card, at least for in one area. So I think that these are going to be the center of my butterfly. And then I may grab a couple of other colors to accent with. So this is where we're going to start anyway, with jewels. I don't reach for our darker colored jewels very often. So I like that this color palette kind of lends itself to being able to grab the espresso jewels. Okay. So there is that start. So then I think I might also grab some Ballet slipper jewels and some peach fuzz. Now, I'm using just the lids from the little canisters. Of course, we have our lovely triangle tray that you can use for this too, but these work perfectly fine as is. So I'm just going to use the little canisters that they come in. So I think I'm going to do a little trio up here. To start off with. Okay. Move on a little closer. So there's that one trio. And because I don't often use the espresso, I'm kind of making the espresso jewels the star of the show here. So I'm going to use them as the bigger trios. And then down here, let's do the mid-sized in Ballet slipper and the small in peach fuzz. That's not what my trio is going to look like, but I'm just getting it on here first things first to see it. Right, now let's push this a little closer here. I think I like it over the little flower middle. Okay, I think I like that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close these up so I don't knock them all over and make a huge mess. And then we'll glue them down and we are done with today's card. Here. Thanks, friends. Right. So let's start here on the butterfly. These guys glued down first. Okay. And make sure these are straight. I think I've had people ask me what to do with the other end of the jewel picker, and this is typically what I use the other end for, is tapping the jewels in place and tapping them down on the liquid glue so that they stay in place and adhere down real well. Oh, I like to mix bling colors. I like to take the colors that I've used in the ink blending, and I like to create trios with similar colors in jewels. That's kind of my jam. Right, that was much too far away. Here we go. Oops. Okay. There we have it, friends. That is my card to date. Pretty clean and simple, but I do think it turned out very fun. All right, and look at how fun the jewels are. I feel like all espresso jewels would have been very dark, so I like the addition of the peach fuzz and the Ballet slipper just to give it a little bit of lightness that matches the other shades in the butterfly as well. All right, friends, well, that is my card for you. Give me a second while I flip this around and we will pick the winner of our $15 gift card code. And if that now is the time, if you have any additional questions, let me know, because I'm actually looking fairly consistently at the comments. Right. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your kind comments about my card. I think it turned out really fun. And then of course I can always make another matching one with the leftover butterfly and the little, leftover chunk of wings that I have. Oh, hi, Carissa. I didn't even see you were here today. I'm so excited that you were here. Cheryl, we always have refills. We do offer refills for our jewels. So bear in mind, you have that option to buy refills for your jewels. Okay, so we have our winner. Congratulations to Lisette Long. You've won today's $15 gift card code, so congratulations. All you have to do to claim your prize is send an email to me. My email address is leah@pinkfreshstudio.com. There's no H on the end of my name, so it's just LEA@pinkfreshstudio.com. To me, well, I leave for vacation on Thursday. So as long as you send your email by tomorrow, I'll get your gift card sent out. If you send it out any later than that, unfortunately, it will not get sent to you until I return. So I am gone, friends, for the next, basically Thursday, the 14th. And I will return home from my vacation on Monday, which I believe is the 25th, the 24th or 25th. Let me check that. 25th. So, we will still have lives. Be sure to check your email. There'll be fewer because it will just be Heather. So, and then of course, Natalie will be doing a couple of scrapbooking lives as well. So I will see you all in a couple of weeks. And then I'll be back just in time for our July release. So Heather and I will be doing a combined live, I believe, maybe. Don't quote me on that. I think the week that I get back. Okay, well, I hope that you guys have a great couple of weeks while I'm gone. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to Montana for 10 days, my home. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And I will see you in a couple weeks. Talk to you later. Bye, friends.